Hello friends and welcome back to a new episode of the TypeScript Tea Time. I'm your host Mirko and hope you're having an awesome day today. We're back with our email newsletter service, completely built serverless. Currently, on the one hand, managed just manually using our good old friend the AWS CLI, but on the other hand, the latest part that we've worked on is completely managed using SAM, the serverless application model from AWS. Hey, CodeMat XOR. That the way you pronounce that? Like the exclusive OR? Welcome in. Good to see you. Thanks for the follow, by the way. 14 hours ago. That was from the raid, right? To Irish John games. XOR. With a Z. Okay. Cheers to you. Welcome to the TypeScript Tea Time. How are you doing today? Hope everything's all right. So I'll just go over what we currently have. So we are building an email newsletter. What we have is, suppose you have the following situation without looking at the diagram, so it's easier to listen. You have a blog and you want people to read that blog as you do when you have a blog, right? For that, you want to have like regular readers. And a good way to build up regular readers is to have an email list. And this email list, so people just subscribe. That's the annoying pop-up that always comes when you visit any kind of blog. And then you receive a newsletter email that basically says, or a reminder email, whenever there is a new blog post, we send you this email. Hey, there's this new blog post. Here's the thumbnail. That's the title of the blog. Here's maybe a little excerpt as well. Come check it out. Here's the link. Just click on it, and then you're inside of the blog. You're doing great. Very good. Very good. Very good. Good to hear. Are you currently at work, or do you enjoy your day off and just code for yourself? Watching some streams. So that's the situations we are pretty much in. What we currently already have, so to do that, we have a couple of, two endpoints mostly. People can subscribe, so they put in their email inside the web form, the web page form, click on submit, and then this sends a post request to us, which we manage, or which we receive in AWS API gateway. We also set up CORS, because otherwise you cannot really send anything from the web page. This API gateway then invokes a kind of workflow. In our case, it creates the contacts, and then it sends like a welcome email. Hey, how you doing? Thank you for subscribing. So that's the very, very basic workflow. We still have to improve this because if somebody subscribes twice, we actually get errors. So we should add something like, if the email does actually not exist, then do all the subscription stuff. And we removed completely the DynamoDB part because we're able to use attributes on so SES is the simple email service. Simple email service, there it is. No, that's not it. Come on. Simple email service from AWS. It's basically like SendGrid, like Sendinblue and whatnot. You need to integrate Cognito. Oh, we did that a couple of times actually on the stream. The first time can be kind of tricky until you get the right things, the right terminology, what you actually need to do. Trying to figure that out. Your login is using DynamoDB. Huh. So you save the login data probably in DynamoDB, I suppose. Very nice, very nice. The user data, maybe the tokens. Although the tokens should be managed by Cognito, right? I would assume. Cool. So yeah, we did a bit of Cognito, I think twice. Once for, was it once or twice? I don't know. The one that I definitely remember is we had like a web shop built with React, which talked to a backend that was sitting, or that was using Nest.js, which is a JavaScript framework, TypeScript framework for building web apps. And there we integrated with Cognito, or actually we just validated the token that the front end was sending us against Cognito, which is possible. And the front end actually just used something called Amplify. Amplify AWS. I have, let's be short disclaimer. I still don't know exactly how I feel about AWS Amplify. It can be good, it can be a bit fiddly, let's say. It's basically a way to fairly easily have a full stack app. You basically build the front end, and you use the Amplify CLI to spin up the backend like an API gateway, a corresponding like app sync to talk to a GraphQL API. It also integrates immediately with DynamoDB and whatnot. And in particular, it can also handle all of your authentication. Depending on your needs, it might not be the right tool, but sometimes it can be. You're using GraphQL, yeah, I know. Storage is probably the integration with file storage. Somewhere, all features. I think it's data store. Yeah, you just write a GraphQL model inside of your front end, and you use a couple of decorators. Or how do they call it in GraphQL? Attributes, properties. I forgot the name. Like whenever you do something like add deprecated and add whatnot, and here you can just use add model, and then you say amplify, deploy everything, and it spins up a GraphQL API, integrates with an actual API in the sense of something which you can talk to, and also sets up the DynamoDB for you, which is pretty amazing. That was one of the part that was actually pretty good inside of Amplify. Yeah, I can't find the normal documentation. The tutorial was terrible, and the documentation is also like, it has triple and quadruple documentation, and they kind of contradict each other. That's the one part. Well, that's definitely one part where I'm on the fence of AWS Amplify, but it might still be worth checking out at some point, if you're interested in AWS and building front ends with it. What we are doing, we are currently using SAM. So the subscribe part, people send a post request essentially from the web form with their email. This one we completely built just with a CLI, which is seriously. And I'm currently trying to put this into a blog article, but it's terrible. Seriously, it's so long, the complete article. I don't know how I will ever finish with this one. Unsubscribe, we did something very, very similar, because we actually knew everything from the subscribe. It was fairly simple, this one, and we actually did not need to create anything on the SES part, the email service. So that was very, very simple to actually create. We did that in like one session, I think, if I remember correctly. And then comes the fun part. So we actually, since we want to send an email newsletter or a reminder whenever there is a new blog article. So we somehow have to check whether there is actually a new blog article. And that's what we're doing with this workflow. It is just running on a schedule. That's why I write cron job here. It is not actually cron job. We're using the AWS event service, like an event bus called Event Bridge. I think is it called Event Bridge Scheduler? I don't know exactly. Or scheduling tasks. Very, very useful. Very, very useful. I've used this a lot. In fact, you can basically build your own cron job, web cron service. If you've earlier, I used EasyCron at some point, but because that means I'm sending data to a third-party provider, I had to actually do additional stuff like encryption before I actually send anything to them. Since this one is just, or the AWS Event Bridge is completely on AWS, that means you get all the data privacy stuff together with it, which is very, very nice. So yeah, I can maybe show ever so quickly here in our SAM. What we're doing here is we define, using this template language that serverless application model provides, we define a step function. State machine is the basic object of step function. That's what they call it. We define what it actually is going to do, and then we define how it is called. And here we just say, well, this is a schedule. This can be anything. You could call it Peter if you want to. I wouldn't suggest calling it Peter because that's going to be confusing, I guess. But with this little bit of configuration, it then deploys the corresponding event bridge stuff to run it in with basically what we define here as a cron job. This is every minute 0, every 4th hour of the day, or on minute 0 in the 4th hour of the day, and then just saying whenever, every month, every day. In other words, every day at 4 a.m. UTC. In a very, very complicated way. Cron is still, I don't know. It's hard to remember. And some people even have custom formats, which makes it slightly weird. Yeah, so that's one thing that we're using. We could also do it manually. You can also do this for just Lambda functions. If you want to invoke Lambda functions, that is very, very simple to set up, I think. Doing it with the UI is slightly more complicated because you have to define UI, event bridge. Because you have to define a couple of more things. Basically, you go to event bridge, you can create a new rule. The event bus can be just email, then we can say test Lambda schedule. And then you can say down here, it says schedule. Here at the bottom right, you cannot really see it. The cats are in front of it. There's the next button. And when I click yes, then we see it creates a cron, let's say every minute, every hour, every day, every month, every day of the year, and so on. Ta-dum. Did it actually do anything? We can also just use something like this. So every minute. That's nicer, in fact. And then we can say, well, integrate with an AWS service and call Lambda. Call a Lambda function. Select the Lambda function that we want to call. Let's say we just take get random number, which is something which we just for the lols set up very, very quickly the other day. We want the newest version. And then you can actually pass specific data also to it and maybe configure a letter queue if something doesn't work. Say next. And I think that's it. Does it automatically subscribe the permissions? I think it does. It depends a bit on how the UI works. Sometimes you have to add permissions, sometimes you don't have to add permissions. Or it adds it automatically. do we have like an event path ARN? Yeah, and this is then called a target, this thing that you call. You can also call your own APIs, which is an maybe even more important part. Very, very simple to use. And now this should have called our Lambda function at some point. Did it? Lambda. All right. Once I validated this, then let's go to the other one. We still have a bit of work to do. Monitoring. Logs. Recent invocations. There it is. 8:44. This is UTC time. So basically, this is right now. And we see it actually did run. All right. So let's remove the rule here. I don't need you anymore. Delete. Thank you for your service. All right. So let's get into our step function. Step function, yeah. Newsletter daily. What we have here is our newsletter to, you can zoom in a slight bit, to validate or to check whether we need to send a new blog article reminder email, and not just one, but actually to every contact that we have. And we do that with the help of this Lambda function. This is a Lambda function, and you can just give it a name. If we go to edit and go to the editor, we actually see that this is a Lambda function. So this is called has new blog post within last 24 hours. So this is a Lambda function, which basically it fetches the RSS feed, which is a publishing format that many blogs provide. In fact, like dev.to. Here I'm on dev.to. You can just go to /RSS. And then you have it. Atom feed is another one. I'm not 100% sure how they differ, to be honest. This might also be an atom feed, I don't know. But it's an XML file which contains all the blog posts here as items. So we see that this is ordered by publishing date, in fact, the newest first. Apparently ebook scaling functional test automation for happy teams is the newest article that we have here, and we have even the link. We have some description. Other RSS feeds. It depends a bit on your blog, on your blog provider. They may, like Medium does something slightly different in terms of the exact elements, but essentially this is kind of formalized. Some details may differ. Some blogs even include the thumbnail inside of here as well, like the thumbnail image, which we will be, which I want to use at some point. Oh, somebody wrote something about Quokka. Very nice. One thing that only Quokka wrote themselves. Okay, Quokka is one of the things that I want to check out at some point, but I haven't gotten around to it. So we fetch this, and then we determine whether the newest blog is actually within the last 24 hours. If that is the case, we actually output as output data to be used by the next function, or by the next workflow step. Let me go here to one of the executions. We output a JSON, and this JSON has a value has new blog article, true or false. And this is the most important part that actually checks with this condition here. We have a choice, an if, which we provide using this editor here. So it's with step function, it's fairly easy to build these kind of workflows. So we have like a choice state, which you can check up here in the flow part, and then you just drag and drop it over. That's all there's to it. And in this case, we check for the variable that we saw just a minute ago. This, down a bit, has new blog article. If it is true, we go into this left part and we do all the logic to actually send emails. If not, we just go to, well, there is no new article, do nothing, and we are finished. The right part, very, very simple. It just goes into the succeed state, done. The left part, however, here we talk to SES, which is the simple email service again, where we, during the subscribe workflow, we create contacts inside of there. It's like a mini address book in a sense, where you just have a list of emails, you have maybe some attribute data for each user, and the kind of topics they are subscribed to. In our case, it's very, very simple. We only have one topic where you can be subscribed to. So yeah, it's like very, very categorical at that point. So we get all the contacts, and together with this information that we got before, so we not only get the information whether we do have a new blog article, we also have the information in case there is one. It isn't that difficult. You need some practice. You need some practice to actually do it. But the hardest part is probably the how do you say, the permissions, getting the permissions right. Fortunately, AWS step functions helps you with that a lot. A lot of services are actually optimized with step functions, and that means it can create the permissions automatically. So when you have something where you write to DynamoDB, you read from DynamoDB, you can do that. It automatically creates the permissions for you. When you create a Lambda functions, it automatically creates the permissions for you, using this editor at least. SAM helps you with that in another way. Here you just write policies. Well, so this is the state machine, the step function. I call it step function, but I should say step machine, a state machine. That's the correct term. In SAM, I can just write, well, these are the policies. Here you now have access to this Lambda function, has new blog article function, and you also have invoke permissions to call this other Lambda function. We still have to figure out how to do it for the SES services, however. That's going to be interesting. So we now decided, we have, let me see, up here, we have the information where, yes, we have a new blog article, and we have the information from the blog article, because that's what we also pass in from up here in this has new blog article. I was first trying to use Lambda to edit the DynamoDB, DB, but it wasn't secure enough. What does secure enough mean? If it has the right permissions and you restrict the permissions to use your Lambda functions, I don't see how it cannot be secure enough. If you just give the Lambda functions, like you can access any table, you can do everything on DynamoDB, that's a bit, yeah. then I agree. It's probably not secure enough. You want to be as specific as possible. What the AWS people call the least privilege principle, right? They really drilled that into me during the certifications. I think it's actually a term that comes from general security, IT security. So we now know, when we get into this part here on the left, we now have the information. We have a blog article, and we know the data from the blog article, so that we can put it inside of the template email. What we do next is we get all the contacts that we want to send emails to. Then we chunk them into small bite sizes, because our API on SES. So this is currently only a placeholder. but we will be using the bulk send email or send bulk email or something like that. I forgot the exact name. API, but it's not very, very bulky. It can only send 50 emails at once. So when we have like 200 contacts, we have to slice them into chunks of 50, and then we can use Lambo, der deutsche Akzent. Yeah, sorry. I try, but yeah, I suppose you're also German from that. Please try to speak English as much as possible. We try to stay international here for accessibility for everybody. So once we have chunked these into chunks of 50 typically, currently it's set to 1, but only for testing, we can use another step function construct. I don't know, how do you call these? Actions? Flow construct? I don't know. Which is a map, which is basically the same as your JavaScript map, or your, how do you call these in other functional, in other programming language? I think in Python it's also called map. Yeah, so you do something for each element inside of an array. And what we do is for each chunk inside of these chunks of 50 contacts, for each stack of 50 contacts, we call, on the one hand, a Lambda function, which transforms it, and then we call after that the send bulk email API call, which then actually sends the email. The cool thing about this map state is we also can set the maximum concurrency very simply. If we want to restrict it to like like processing like 200 emails at the same time at most, we can do that very, very simply. We don't have to write anything ourselves, and be careful about how often this will actually run at the same time. Because I think there are actually limits on SES on how many API calls you can do at the same time. So we got to be careful about that. And that's the basic idea. What we now need to do is we have to write this Lambda function to transform into the correct parameters for send bulk email. I did prepare an API call right here. So this is the format that we need to write for send bulk email. So this is basically the output of our transform Lambda function. And then we need to we have to handle permissions so that we can actually call send bulk email, because all the SES API calls are unfortunately not integrated. They're not optimized for step functions, or vice versa. Step functions is not optimized for SES, I think. That way is correct. That's why the role does not automatically get all those permissions, which is a bummer. But well, we have to handle it. And from there, did I miss anything? So we transform using this Lambda functions. We have to set up permissions. We have to set up the template email. That's very important. Here. And I think that should be about it. And we have to figure out how to do everything with the help of SES. SAM. With the help of this template method. Kind of. That's going to be fun. Alright, let's get to it, I guess. What we need to do is, so first I'm going to start with our Lambda function. To do that, so we have our little project here, which is just called SAM in this case. In here we have, it's basically like a monorepo. On the top level we have everything that is actually being deployed, like the SAM template that defines these are the functions that get deployed. This is the state machine that gets deployed and whatnot. And we have, as like monorepo style, inside of here for each function we have a complete subrepository which has its own node modules. It has its own like package JSON and whatnot, all of the TypeScript files and so on. So let's just duplicate one of these dudes. It may take a minute because of the many node modules that it has to do. And then we call this transform to bulk email, to send bulk email. I guess, yeah. So in here we have a Lambda function. So this is the entry point for our Lambda function. This will be called, and then we have to actually write the stuff that we want here. Let me maybe go over to this. Essentially what we want to do, return something like this. That's the basic idea. And to do that, I suppose I need to turn this dude here into JSON to TS. Convert from selection. There we go. And then we call this, I don't know, interfaces.ts. Like so. That looks okay-ish. This is the... What is this? This is the bulk email params or args. And we want to export this dude. Here we go. And that is going to be the return type of our function. So are you familiar with JavaScript and TypeScript? If not, I might need to explain a bit more. Or at least can you read what I'm writing here? So essentially we're defining a function here that takes this input and it returns this interface. Or we define that it should return this this interface. And here, well, we define the return type. No, the return value, sorry, the return value. Now, this is going to be interesting. So we have a couple of things that we need to provide here. For example, the template ARN needs to come, I think, from the environment. Template ARN. And for now, we will just like take a default value. And then we can just say template ARN. Then the template... I think I might not be able to catch you this late, but I will definitely watch you. Hey, thank you so much. So for you it's late, so you're probably in Asia or somewhere in Asia, I guess. Or on the other hand, you might also be very, very much in the Western UK, US, sorry. Oh yeah, US, okay, yeah. What is the current time then? Like in New York, for example, current time? Yeah, I stream, my regular streams are actually on Wednesday, 18 o'clock, which is, I think, okay-ish. It's like morning in the US, at least on the Eastern Coast. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay, well, wow. All right. So next one. We have to still change the input. The input is actually not quite correct, I think. Input is going to be the... What does the input actually look like? I think it's going to be the output of our chunk function. Chunk app.ts. We have contact chunks inside of here. And contact chunk is actually going to be the thing that we will be using. Am I in the right directory? Yeah, there we go. So contact chunk is actually the event that we get in. That's the thing that we get inside of here. And now what? So we probably need to do some more from email address is equal to process.end.from email address, or otherwise for now we just take this default here. Here we go. Then we have a template name. Template name is equal to process.env.template name, or he says template data. This is kind of to do. It depends on the template that we are going to write soonish. Next one, we have our emails, and this is the part where I actually wanted to use JavaScript. We could have done some transformations on inside of step functions in itself. There's something called the step functions intrinsic functions. They are somewhat clunky to use, I gotta admit. They're fairly new, so they might be doing some changes. But with this, you can, for example, create a UUID, very, very simple, without having to do anything in terms of Lambda, which makes some workflows very, very simple. Like saving something to the database is now just a question of having a state machine, setting that you want to use put item on DynamoDB, and then determining or writing the item that you want to write, and using the states.uuid to create a unique identifier, for example, without any kind of code involved. Very, very easy in that sense. So it cannot, however, do more complex transform. Like, there is no mapping as far as I can tell. That's why I want to do this on JavaScript level. So for these bulk email entries, this is going to be fun. Here we go over, I think it's event.contacts.map. And in here, we get a contact and we do something with the contact. And that being, I think we return something like this. Let's close all of that. Did that work? I think it did. Yeah. So toAddress is just the contact.email. And now we can, for each toAddress, so we could write multiple in here. We also have like CC addresses and BCC. But because we don't want to have people seeing each other's email, that would be bad for data privacy. We can instead define multiple destinations like so. And we can also now, because every contact has its own destination, we can also specify the template variables, the template data, very, very specific to the context. So we could write something like this here. And I think in this case, I want to do json.stringify. Because it had this value has to be a string, unfortunately. This is going to be contact.email. But here you could now, if you have more information about the contact, you could get, for example, all of the attribute data, which might have something like the name inside of there. And then you can say hello Peter or hello Jessica within the email. The unfortunate part about using attribute data, and I think one part that is actually a no-go, is that there is no API inside of SES, as far as I can tell. Maybe let me double check my Twitter. Maybe they sent me another message. Yesterday the AWS support told me that doesn't seem to be, or they don't know anything out of their head for bulk getting the data, the attribute data. So there is an endpoint. Let me just maybe do this ever so quickly. So there is SES v2, which is the simple email service version 2. We can list the contacts of our email newsletter or of our contact list. But as you can see, there is nothing like attribute data inside of here. We do have the email. We do have their the preferences. For example, they are subscribed to newsletter. They are not unsubscribed from everything, and we see when this giddy person last updated or was last updated. We also see the same for our other person here, above. The unfortunate part is if we actually get contact like so, in here we see the attribute data, which in my case has something like the privacy policy accepted at date. You cannot really see, can you? Well, up here. This is the important part. And you could have something like names here. You can just write anything to it as much as you want. Oh, there's probably a limit on size. But you can write whatever you want. The unfortunate part being there is no API to like bulk get this attribute data. So we would now need to do, for each contact, call the get contact individually, which is very, very inefficient. Like in this one, we have like 50 contacts, and this is being done like for all the contacts, right? Because you want to send a newsletter email to each one of them. That's easily 2,000 API calls that you're doing to AWS, which takes a bit of time and resources and probably your money, unfortunately. Yeah, so that's unfortunate. They should just add like a flag to list contacts, maybe something with include attribute data. That would be amazing if that would be an option, but it isn't. Anyway, so that being the case, we cannot really, or it is at least more complicated to get all of that data. But we could just do it using this Lambda function if we wanted to. Doing 50 API calls, probably slightly more, like one at a time or something. This Lambda function will take then ever so, yeah, somewhat longer, which is unfortunate, but that would be an option. I'm trying to think of different use cases for the step functions. I'm thinking like attribute data for receipt on what they purchased. Attribute data, be aware of that. It's a feature from, sorry, I probably missed explaining that. That's a feature of simple email service, this attribute data. We do that when maybe I can go back again. When we subscribe our people, in here we this is basically called via a post request or on a post request from a user. They send us their email in the post body. This should be gone. This I want to remove. But here we save the, wait, where do I save the attribute data? Did I just, where do I save the attribute data? Wait, what? Where did I do that? It's not here, right? No. It's not here either. Where? Ah, is it this one? Yeah, I think it's this one. And I haven't redeployed yet. Yeah, there we go. So in here, so save contact or create contact is the API call that you do on SES in this case, on the simple email service. And there you provide the contact list, which we have created up front. We call it email newsletter. We have to provide the email address, and this $, that always specifies that you have something that is also like in the value you use the $, which is a state input. That's something that comes in and is not a static value. You specify this with this $, syntax, I guess. Input, yeah. And you also have to do it on the, that's the one part that I was like, hey, why is it not working? You have to actually set it also on the key to actually evaluate this $, as an input, as a variable. If you do not provide this email value will just be this constant string $.email, which is not a valid email. So never forget to use this $. If you are working with anything from the input. And then you can provide the attribute data like so. And again, here in the privacy policy accepted data, you see this $, because we are using, again, the input. Yeah. It's just one thing that you have to be aware of, that you need to use this $. Otherwise, it will not do anything. They even have down here, you cannot really see it, unfortunately. Down here, they even remind you of that. For example, so must be a valid JSON to reference a node in this state's JSON input. The key must end with $. For example, key2 is has value $.input value. So they try to remind you of this weirdness. When I started out with this, I was like, why is it not working? Until I finally understood. That's what they mean by this. Okay, I get it. Yeah, so attributes data is not a step function feature. It is a feature of SES. We're basically using SES as a database. Or this contact list inside of SES, we are using it as a database to get rid of DynamoDB. But having this restriction that you cannot, at least when you're doing bulk operations, not being able to bulk get the attribute data is just terrible in a sense. Then it's just way easier to have an additional step for DynamoDB probably, and make like a bulk get on DynamoDB. Although DynamoDB can only bulk get like 25 items, if I remember correctly. Is that still valid? I think. Maybe. It's been a while since I've used it. Yeah, so that much on attribute data. Now, so we define where we are actually sending the email from. This is like the source of the email. It doesn't sound scalable, and then yeah. You mean I suppose you're referring to the step function stuff, because DynamoDB is still, I don't know. I suppose it's, 25 is restrictive. It's definitely restrictive. It is restrictive. So what do we do here? So we define for our bulk email sending API, we define where we send the email from. We define like the default content. It should use this template and this template ARN. I don't know why we need to provide both. Maybe it suffices to actually just provide one. I'm not 100% sure. It does work with two. So we can define default template, like template data. I'm not 100% sure whether this is like merged with the one that is very, very specific to each contact. But we can definitely provide like defaults. There is some documentation on this. Where did I see that? Step functions. Probably in here. Yeah, if you want to do bulk email sending, this is like the newest documentation on it. 25 calls. With one call, you can get 25 items. So you can do a lot of calls, but you can only get 25 items at the same time. Or was it only the update? Maybe it was only the update call. I think it was only the update call that was like, yeah, I think it was the DynamoDB. If you do updating or create any kind of mutations, you can do with one single API call, bulk insert, I don't know. In that case, you only can write 25 items at once. So at least these guys are able to import 100 million plus records in under 30 minutes. So it can definitely still be very, 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 very fast. AppSync can like simultaneous calls or API operations, mutations. Is there a limit to the number of GraphQL mutations that you can do at the same time? API calls. I don't know how many API calls you can do on DynamoDB. What I remember, or what I was here, this batch write item, I think that's it. With the batch write item, you can only change 25 items at the same time within one API call. So you can, I think, do 20 API calls at the same time. That's perfectly possible. And each one of these API calls processing 25 items. I think that's an option. There might be some API limit, and maybe if you ask AWS, I mean, there's this, where is it? Somewhere you go here to the, on your username, you have service quotas in here. I did never actually do this. Apparently we have like 9 quotas on DynamoDB. Concurrent control plane operations is not what we want, but this is 500, so we can like create 500 tables at the same time. We want data plane, right? Write throughput limit 80,000. I don't know exactly what this means, like in what unit it is. Table level write throughput limit 40,000. So you can down here we have table level write throughput limit 40,000, and you can even ask AWS to adjust it if you need to do so. not exactly 100% sure what this means, so I would need to get into this deeper to write perfectly, to understand perfectly what this actually means. Maybe it's MB, maybe it's calls, I don't know. And 40,000 is then a lot, like 40,000, oops, 40,000. If it's API calls, you can write that 1 million. Yeah, and I was not able to make this calculations in my head because I'm a mathematician. I cannot calculate. It's like 1 million write operations at the same time, and they are typically fast. If that is, if I interpret the number in the correct way. So, don't quote me on it. This being coming back, the article that I sent you, it's the newest documentation for sending email, but it is not using the newer API version, which is kind of annoying. I don't know, for whatever reason the documentation on SES is very, very much outdated. I don't know exactly why, but yeah. We are using version 2, by the way. All right. Where were we? Wait. I think we were here, right? So, right. We talked about attribute data. Right. Now I get it. I wanted to check the article whether we can use replacement data how this is merged in terms of, so we have like the default template data, which we have now as default content.template data. That's the default content data. In the version 1 it was just called default template data, and they provide name friend and favorite animal unknown. And let's see, they do not have an example where they like do it partially. If you do not provide anything apparently, then it will just take the default. I think that's what they say here. Anaya, Liu, and Shirley will see their names in the place of the name template tag. Blah, 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 blah. Favorite animal will also be replaced because these 3 people provided. Richard, however, he does not have a name, and he also does not have a favorite animal, so he will instead see the default template data, right? The default template data property determines what will happen if you do not specify the replacement template data property for a recipient. In this case, the false recipient will see the word friend in place of the name tag and unknown in place of the other one. They unfortunately do not say what happens if you have like partial data inside of this replacement data right here. So that would be something worth checking out and documenting from their side, but well, bummer. Okie dokie. Is that it? Is that all we need? I think we need a template now, right? That is all the things that we need to do, I think. Cool. Wait. We probably want some more data. Let me try to put this inside of here. So json.stringify. We turn you, my friend, into an object because then it's just easier to work with. This is a default like name in the name, in the template email. And now we want to have like the title, which should be something like event.new blog article.title. We can also say, I don't know, event.new, yeah, we probably want to have like the new blog article.link. Very, very important. Link to article. And article title, let's make it slightly more descriptive. And anything else? What do we have on this item? We have a GUID, we have a pub date, we have a description, we have categories possibly. I think these two depend on your blog provider. These will most likely be in pretty much every blog RSS feed that you can get. One I'm actually interested in is this enclosure when we have like an email, a thumbnail. That would be nice. So you add attachments to it like an image. Very good question. So we can definitely link an image inside of the. Wait, do we have to actually transform? I forgot how to do emails, how to do images in emails. One way is to do it via attachments, right? Which is what you are asking for. The other one is, can you actually link it as an image with a source? Or do you always have to put it as a data image? How do you call these? Like inline data URL. I think it's data URL, right? Where you essentially have the complete image URL encoded. That's UTF. Wait, which one? Which encoding? Base 64 encoded. Base 64. Yeah, don't know exactly. So I think we can get rid of all of this. How do we? Good question. Can we? So if we check send email first, maybe we can do something like attachment. Definitely in raw. So if you use the send email, oops, my bad. Yeah, where I wanted to click. The send email, which is just sending one email to a list of recipients. There from apply to, I think it's destinations, and this is a list of recipients. Yeah, so you can send to multiple people. I don't know whether there's a limit. In simple, a standard email message, when you create this type of message, you specify the sender, recipient, and the message body, and SES assembles the message for you. Raw, a raw MIME formatted email message. When you send this type of email, you have to specify all the message headers as well as the message body. You can use this message type to send messages containing attachments. So apparently, judging from how they specifically say that with raw you can use attachments, I suppose you can only use it with raw and not with templated and not with simple. Is how I interpret this. Maybe you can use create template email. Oh boy. AWS, there it is. This is version 2. Yeah, very good. Do we have attachment inside of here? We do not have anything about attachments inside of here, so it might not be possible. We have text and HTML for the template content, but we do not have anything about attachments, it seems. yeah, so that's not an option in this case, unfortunately. Lost my shoe. Unfortunately. Very good question. Yeah, that's very, very restrictive if you think about it, right? Attachments like calendar events is one of the things that you send very, very often together with your emails. So in that case, you would need to use raw, which is probably much more annoying to assemble. Yeah. There is one very, very good resource for AWS. Like, where did I have this? Really, I kind of forgot. I think I shared it on Twitter at some point, but I don't know where exactly. It was like one of these awesome lists on GitHub. For pretty much every AWS service, they had not only a summary of it, but they had like insider knowledge from people who have actually used it and what kind of pitfalls there were and what kind of difficulties they ran into and what other ways where it just worked perfectly. AWS. Wow. Does seriously? The page search does not the page search on Twitter does not work because I definitely have more than just these two occurrences of AWS. Now it's getting better. Trust policy, blah blah blah. Oh, I can't find it anymore. Too much junk on the Twitter. Let me maybe do a quick Google. AWS awesome list. Every service. Awesome AWS. Curated list of awesome lists. Not what we need. Awesome AWS. Was it this one? I kind of forgot. But this one is definitely a good one to check out. But it might not be the one that I've found. It might be more fundamental. The other one was really, really good. Fortunately, I can't find it. Maybe it was this one. Anyway, coming back, my music stuff. Piano Collections, Final Fantasy X. So we have everything in place, I think. And we can now check out whether the replacement data actually works the way that we hope it does. Why is input can go away, contact can apparently go away. These two we still need, and bulk email args we have in this other TypeScript file, so we might as well just put these there as well. Export and export. Go. Import you. And was that it? Okay. We don't need to export this friend. All right. So now we have to link everything up with the help of SAM. serverless application model. You can also get rid of all of these dependencies, in fact. I don't think we need... we do need the ES build. This was kind of the default already, so I will not remove it. I'm not 100% sure whether we need this in dependencies. It is a bit weird that it's inside of dependencies and not inside of dev dependencies, but ES build should probably also handle everything automatically, so I don't complain too much. Let's go inside of transform ever so quickly. We npm install. Done. Then we can call the TypeScript compiler. So this is the TSC ---- no emit in this case. So it did work. And then we can go backish, go to our template file, and I will just duplicate maybe this function here. Done. Like so. And we can call this transform to bulk email. Transform to send bulk email, apparently. Like this. So, let's go over this. It is a Lambda function, so this is one specific way that we can define it. Where is the code located? It is located in transform -2 send bulk email \. The handler, the function that is actually being called, is inside of app.ts, and it is called, so the exported function is a named export lambda handler. So like this, we use Node.js 16, we run on 64-bit architecture. Environment variables. We have to copy those over. We can, for now. So environment variable 1 is this dude. Environment variable 2 is this dude. And environment variable 3 is going to be this dude. For now, I will just take you and you and this being the ARN of the template you. Normally you don't have to write the quotes in YAML. I include these because I don't know how YAML will handle these colons and the backslash and the add character. Gotta be safe than sorry on that front. Alright. So, and this metadata makes sure that we actually compile it into JavaScript, because AWS Lambda cannot talk TypeScript, unfortunately. Looking good. Right. Now, do we need these? I don't know. Well, just leave them there. We need to give our function up here our state machine, the step function. We need to give them the policies, the permissions to actually call our Lambda function. We do that by just saying, well, Lambda invoke policy, and then we reference this function name, and this will become the actual Lambda function name when this is being evaluated. Anything else? Probably have to write something like this up here. Exclamation mark get attribute dot ARN. We are currently not using this. So these substitutions, if we go into this definition file where we define our state machine using what's called the Amazon states language, I don't know exactly, ASL. this is the stuff that you get out of step functions. If we go to step functions again, and we go to cancel for now, state machines, newsletter block. When we go to edit, this stuff here on the left side, that's the ASL. And I basically copy and pasted this inside of here. And now Sam adds another option, which is templating. So you see this JavaScript template syntax, template literal syntax here, which basically replaces this part here with the value of the variable that we put inside of has new blog article function ARN. And we define this variable up here in these definition substitutions. And so we could write something like hello here, and it will substitute this part with hello in that case. Here we want to access the Amazon resource name, the identifier for our Lambda function. So we can do this with this exclamation mark get attribute directive, and then saying what. So from this Lambda function, which is the name of this Lambda function down below here, we take the ARN property, and that's how we actually can kind of extract the value from the ARN, and then have that written right here, and then it gets injected into the JSON file. I don't think I have actually sent the link to AWS SAM. So right there. And if you want to use TypeScript, because we have the TypeScript tea time, of course, we have to use TypeScript, AWS SAM, and I don't want to write JavaScript because I will make terrible mistakes. It's basically this one. It has changed ever so slightly. You don't need to use the beta features anymore. Basically what you do is you call SAM init, you take the quick start templates, you take hello world, and there you can select then TypeScript inside. So this SAM init will give you a wizard inside of the CLI. And then you go through the rest of the stuff, and then you have your setup. And we pretty much started from exactly there with this setup here as well. So it is actually useful. All right. We have these. The problem now is, so we have our function. We can actually try to use it immediately. We will fail at the point where we want to access send bulk email, I think. But that's okay-ish, I think. So we can, first of all, we can use SAM validate to check that our YAML is in fact valid, at least most of it. There might still be like runtime errors. Then we can use SAM build to extract everything, or to build everything. The build failed. Oh, great. Not package.json file not found. Bundling source without dependencies. Package.json is right there. Because I called transform wrong. I made a typo. Well, figures. What has happened here? Trans. Down here in the code URI, I made a typo. Transform to send bulk email. Fortunately, we did get at least a degree of feedback as soon as we build this, and not only after actually deploying stuff. Yeah, we were close. Tresen form. And now we can deploy. SAM deploy, and now pushes everything up. into the cloud as soon as we say yes. It also, so if you've worked with anything like AWS CDK, if you worked with something like Terraform, if you've worked with Pulumi, this is very, very similar. Or if you've worked with just plain old CloudFormation, this is in fact creating CloudFormation stuff, which is the AWS infrastructure as code service. But we write it in like a somewhat simpler form instead of actually having the CloudFormation stuff in itself. For example, we did not actually specify this role. It gets automatically created for us for our Lambda function. But you do need to provide a role if you want to deploy a Lambda function, unfortunately. Yeah, I think that's true. had to think for a moment. I think that's true, what I just said. If you want to use it via the CLI, you actually have to provide a role, if I remember correctly. So, and what does it do? So it creates this transform to send bulk email function role. It creates the actual function. We see what kind of function type it is, and this time we see it actually in terms of CloudFormation. So this is a Lambda function, this is an IAM role. We also see that the newsletter, so this is the step function SFN, the state machine role gets actually changed and it is being modified. They don't need to recreate it. And we also see that the step function in itself changes. Did we already change the step function? Wait, abort. We did not, right? No, we still have the placeholder here. We need to change. No, I first want to deploy because then I have this Lambda function and then I want to use the editor again, the UI editor, to create or to better specify this ASL here. So let's actually deploy this time. It will not incorporate the Lambda function in the workflow, but that's expected. We will do that as soon as it is deployed, because then we can just use the UI to link to it. Otherwise, we cannot save. Bummer. No, this will take a minute. We can do a quick stretch here. Maybe relaxing the shoulders ever so slightly. First, pushing those shoulders up and pushing, and then letting loose. Then pushing up, hold the breath, and feel the relaxation in the shoulders and the shoulder blades and the neck. Yeah, hard working. Well, kind of. It is a different kind of hard work. When I think of hard working, I think of actual work where you use your muscles. I use just my brain muscle. There it is. It has been deployed. So we should see under Lambda. Let's just go to Lambda. We have now a 6th Lambda function, and we see 1 minute ago this transform to send bulk email. And we also see that while these two Lambda functions are deployed using this template as well, it did not actually change them, which is also nice. So we really just deploy the diffs that have been changed. I think that's actually not a feature of SAM, that's actually a feature of CloudFormation, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, there's our Lambda function. This is a beautiful code that was created. we can probably not read that, but what we see here is we do see ARN, AWS. That's just the... Never mind what I just said. Oh, we did forget the... Did we? No, there they are. Okay, yeah, everything's good. We should see under configuration, we should also see the environment variables. There they are. Very good. Very good. And now the cool thing from here is if we go to step functions. Step Irish step functions. And we take our newsletter daily, which is the thing that we're working with currently. We go back to the workflow studio editor, whatever you call it. Now we can invoke Lambda inside of here, and we can just say here on the right, Lambda, we take the transform to send bulk email fun. Because it's called function. I was confused there for a second. And we use the state input as payload. Very good. And I think that's all there's to it. And this is the output will be exactly custom catered for bulk email. Like so, we can get rid of this placeholder. We can say here transform to send bulk send bulk email args. Maybe args is not a good term, parameters, because I try to name these as business friendly as possible. Chunking and mapping might already be not as long as no cuss words. Glad you enjoy it. So I try to, because we're using something like step functions, this is actually, we can do this with business people. If I'm able to zoom out ever so slightly, we can use this with business people. Here we have zoom in and zoom out buttons. Because this can be read by business people, right? Kind of. Where I'm slightly worried is that this chunk might be something, and mapping is might also not be perfectly clear. But if we explain it, we can also say for each contact chunk. Maybe that's actually a better name, probably. For each contact chunk, do this. Transform to send bulk email parameters, and then send bulk email. Or send email in bulk. Like so. So it's a nice way to communicate, in fact. And if we save this, we can also just, I think there is an export button, like here, and you can just include this inside of your wiki, inside of your, I don't know, Git book, either via SVG, so it scales automatically, and or via or via PNG. It might not be perfectly clear what this is supposed to mean. But people should at least get an idea of what is actually happening in terms of the business logic that is being done to send the email newsletter. That's a very, very nice thing about step functions, I find. Actually, maybe one of the most important ones. So here it warns us, the changes to a state machine may affect which resources it needs to access. To ensure your state machine has the right permissions, you might need to edit the current IAM role, create a new one, or select a different role. So here's one, so they warn us up there. If we go down and we go to permissions, create a new role, select that one, then up here it actually tells us what it cannot automatically create. And we see that, so permissions for the following actions cannot be auto-generated. An execution role will be created with partial permissions only. But it at least creates all of the Lambda stuff, which is nice. We of course want to do this via our friend here, the template, the SAM template. So we will probably not use this in its current form, but we exactly know, we need to access, we need to allow the SES service version on the SES version. We need to allow on the SES version 2 service the send bulk email action. It does not tell us the resources exactly. And so, but we do actually even have a template down here for the custom one. I will actually not use it because I want to use it want to generate it using the template, so that everything is managed using this template and not. Otherwise, we have something in the cloud which does not match the code in our repository, which is not great, right? Which is not a great thing. It's what you call drift in this case. The stuff that you define that you want to have is not the stuff that is actually being deployed. And that's not a great thing. So what I will do, I will just choose an existing role and I will save for now. We did already manually go inside of here and created. We did manually added this SES read-only access role, which is actually not being changed, which is interesting because the rule was never recreated at that as of that point when we added it here. So that's the way how we can actually currently access which part is it? This list contacts API from SES. We will at this point fail down here. And once I have run this once more to see whether actually the output from our Lambda function is correct, I will go ahead. So we will get permission errors now in the bulk email because it's a write operation and we do not have permissions to do that. But that's kind of expected, and I will just go ahead with it. So let's do it. Very, 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 very satisfying to now see the actual execution. And it now goes, so this one is actually running quite long because it has to do an API call and do all the parsing. And then it flows, the data flows in this direction. It lists the contacts. We see the output of this as well. Most importantly here, output contacts and all the users. I'm not 100% sure how secure this is, like in terms of data privacy policy. So you might have to set up something that it automatically deletes all this data after like 90 days or something, and talk to your legal team. But it's very, 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 very easy. You can just click on this and then you see when I chunk this comes out. So we have like one first chunk. Oh, you can actually close these as well. I didn't know that. Where you can then see the new article and then you see the contacts. In this case, I do chunks of one, just so that we have, because I only have 2 contacts, I want to see that it actually running at least, that it is running multiple chunks. And we see map iteration details. We try to run 2, so 0 of 2. It is currently running them apparently in sequence, huh? I don't know exactly. So I have to click on the outer part. Clicking on the inner part does something else. Clicking on the outer part, we see 1 failed, 1 was cancelled, and 0 are currently in progress. We do still see the step input, and we can now go into the inner one. We see this was the input, which is one of the, I think it's the first chunk that we have. If we go to chunk details once more in the output, close you. Yeah, it's the first chunk here, and the other chunk is close you. It's above. Currently we are talking with Giddy. Both of these are fake trash emails. So when I go inside of here, we see that as input, we did in fact get the new blog post. You can have cheeseburger later. We see Giddy inside of here, and then as output, we see that we have from email address, TypeScript tea time, default content. This one, we see our ARN. We see the details. Oh, what's this? Article title. Syntax. Okay. the title is apparently called says syntax, and then with goggly eyes. Link to article is this, and maybe we can open this for just a second. Says syntax. Yeah, if you want to learn says syntax, there's currently an article on DevTO apparently. That was published only a few seconds, minutes ago probably. And then we see bulk email entries, destination to address. We see Giddy, and we see the replacement data specific to this contact. Very nice. And then right here, when we call send bulk email, it was cancelled. We do not see the fail output inside of here. But when we go down, 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 we see map state failed. Task state aborted, task state aborted, task state failed up here is the last one. And there we see user blah 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 assumed role is not authorized to perform bulk email. Let me maybe. Oh, there's a copy button. Very nice. Thank you. That makes it very simple. Is not authorized to perform SES send bulk email on resource star because no identity-based policy allows to send bulk email action service SES v2. Yeah. Very, very good. Be aware. So in a few weeks probably, they are currently redesigning this page, and when you do this, it will look slightly different. Apparently we see the error immediately. That's pretty cool. That's a nice feature. Oh, I like that one. You do not have the long list down below. You do see that I see this for the first time with the map as well. You do see the input output here as well. There is an exclamation mark apparently. I don't know what this exclamation mark means. You're viewing the details of selected map iterations. To see the details of the map state, go to map state overview. Ah, very nice. So they're happy with that. And down here at the very, very right, so you might have to scroll a bit. You see map iteration failed. And yeah. I want to go to bulk email. Okay, there we go. And in here we now see the same email, the same error message that we saw right here. Cool. So this will come in a bit. And we see this immediately. That's very nice. I like that one. We can leave feedback if we wanted to. This one is good. Cool. Let's go back to the current version. Now we have to fiddle around with the policies. This is going to be fun. Not. I would take like a 3-minute break. Where we are going to go is AWS SAM policy. Custom policies. I don't know. Which part of MailChimp are we cloning? So we are not, we are limiting it to one person. But what we are cloning is essentially whenever you publish a new, what we have is a blog. Whenever we publish a new article, we want that a notification is sent via email to all of our subscribers, to all of our email subscribers. So people can subscribe, they can unsubscribe, not that we want to. And then we can check whether there is a new blog post. We do this via RSS, XML feed, which is being published by a lot of blog providers automatically. And then we actually send the email newsletter. We also have like templates and anything else. I think that's about it. Yeah, that's the part that we are kind of cloning from MailChimp. Have you have worked with MailChimp before? I suppose. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. Just give me a quick break. We will look into IAM policies in just a minute. We did just now finish a very, very important milestone, I think. Having this workflow here work for us. Very nice. So, be right back in a minute. If you want, you can play a round of T-Wars. I hope it's working currently. I don't know. The other day it was broken. Apparently it's a dark blob. So on the right hand side you see the commands. You have one attack per round, and let's try to defeat this monster. I will just block, kind of. I'll be tanking for you. See you in a minute. See, it's a fierce battle. Let's do some healing here. I think I rolled a 1. That was a terrible roll. I think it's like 1 or 2 attacks probably. Oh, that hurt. There are a couple of more interesting ones. We have like this one, for example. Now you receive now half damage. Wow, that would have been a 12, I think, instead. Did we defeat it? No, it has like one HP left. Once. Explosions. Oh, level up. Yay! 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 Level up for Code Matt. Congratulations! And also level up for Joe, the developer. Congratulations! You will now do 1 extra damage and 1 extra heal on every attack, on any action, in fact. Very good. Congratulations. Thank you so much for playing. This is T-Wars, a game that we've actually played, developed completely on stream, I think, pretty much. Let's close you down. Oh, sorry for the eye kill. I hope you're not. It's not dark yet, so depending on your time zone. All right. So now we have to figure out how to use the serverless application model SAM and write basically a custom policy to access simple email service. What engine? It is written in Phaser.js, which is a JavaScript, or Phaser 3 in fact, JavaScript, TypeScript framework. Very, very simple. It's very easy to start. But I have a lot of fun with it. And the cool thing it runs completely in the browser, so you don't need to actually cross-compile anything. Unreal is way too hard for me. I gotta admit. It is way over my head. And one very nice thing is you have all of these examples, and you have also these Phaser Lab. So you can just, it is pretty good, pretty nicely documented. You can just, how do I emit a scene event? How do I create an event emitter? How do I, if we go to, I think, game objects, we can look at all the particle stuff, for example. Somewhere, shapes, tests, render particle emitters. And for example, how do we do this kind of rainbow thing? Oh, look at that. That's actually in 3D. Oh, so pretty. And it's all running in the browser. And because I'm using OBS, I can just link the game using a browser source, which is very, very easy. In fact, if I go to like, I don't know, localhost 6310140, there's the game running very, very easily on the web server. All right, back to Sam. How do I grant IAM permissions to a Lambda function? It's pretty much the same, I think. In this case, they just give Amazon DynamoDB full access, which is not what we need. SQS polar policy. We have something like SES. Here we go. These are like the custom statements, and I think we need to use that one. That's my best guess. Where do I see US polar policy template table? Maybe that one. So this one helps us. Do we have anything with SES? Oh, there you go. SES bulk template CRUD policy. Gives permission to create, get, list, update, and delete Amazon SES templates. Gives send bounds permissions, gives permissions to send email, templated bulk emails, and verify identity. I guess we can just use this one, although it's not quite as specific as we want. So if we want to make this and bounds permission, no. If we want to make this more specific, yeah, this has way too many permissions, and we want to give the least amount of permissions possible. I suppose we will in fact create a statement ourselves. Go. So SID. Do we need an SID? I don't know. I think we can just call this whatever we want. SES send bulk email policy. Let's remove all of them. Now we want to allow, and we have. So now I'm going to go into SES. On the one hand, we can just take it from here, I think. We can... SES list is one that we need. SES list, I think it's contacts. So we already have like a too permissive role on here. Let's go to policies and create one ourselves. So I am now inside of IAM, and you can go there by just going up here and taking IAM. By the way, if you hit anywhere on this page, Alt S, you go into this search bar, which is very, very comfortable. So if you go down here, then you say, I want this policy, and you have your cursor here, Alt S, and now you can write up here all of a sudden. Very useful. I always forget about it, so which is well. Anyway, so let's create a new policy, and I want to create this first using the UI because it's much easier to then do anything with it. So SESv2, we take list and we take list contacts. We specify that we need. So let's double check this once more. We go into the step function and we go to SESv2 list contacts, and we need to use down here the email newsletter contact list. So I've chosen SESv2. SESv2 list contacts, and then I can go inside of here to say, well, for the contact list, I want to add an ARN. Contact list name is this, and the region is US East 1 in my case. And then it creates the ARN for you. So we can take you right there. We do not manage this dude using SAM just yet. So that's why I just provide the complete ARN right here. So that should work. And actually that is SES list email list contacts policy. And now we create another one for send bulk email. And we can do pretty much the same using this editor. Again SESv2. We take, well, we don't want list contacts anymore. We want this time to take right. Inside of here, we should somewhere, can also just like send bulk email. There we go. Now we have to specify identity, and we take any. I'm not 100% sure how this one works. I think this is where we are sending the email from, but I am not sure, unfortunately. So we take that one. I do want US East 1 in this case though. Why is there a star? That's not correct, I think. Where did my cursor go? Cursor, please be here. Okay, there we go. And this needs to be an array now. So on the one hand, we have this friend here. And I don't think I need the star right there. Yeah, so this is region, or It's an ARN on AWS. It's simple email service. And even though we said that it's version 2, I think on the permission set level they are the same. US East 1, on API level they are different. Region is US East 1. This is my account ID. We want the resource being identity, and we allow every single one. I think what I could do is something like typescripttime@gmail.com right here, which is the from email, but I'm not 100% sure, and that's why for now I will just go with star to allow email sending from anywhere. I think that's what this is. Configuration set, we do not need anything. And for the template, we will change this in a bit, but for the time being, we just use this welcome email. They will receive a welcome email in this case. We will create the email in a bit. So copy you and go up to the permissions again. Do it like that. And I think I want to change these into like double quotes, because I've been using double quotes most of the time. Yep, there we go. And that should be it in terms of permission, if I'm not mistaken. It did change the indentation a bit. I hope that's alright. Let's double check once more with our properties, policies, then statement. The statement needs to be on the same. Does that make a difference? I never know. I think this is policies is now an array with one element called statement. I think. I'm not 100% sure. All right, let's try it. I mean, we have nothing to lose, right? Toulouse, which is a nice city. What I want to do, however, is get rid of this permission here. Remove you. I added this earlier so that we can read the context, because I didn't want to get into policies yesterday like we did today. So SAM build I did run just now, SAM deploy. Now we should see stuff, I guess. Hopefully. Nice. T. So this is changing the... Oh, wait. Did we actually save the step function by now? I don't think we did, right? Did we? We definitely want to take all of this now. We still have an outdated version of the ASL, of the state machine. So we need to change those. And we can change them like this. So the function name up here is this. Then what else do we have? We have another one. No, this one is good. The contact list name, in fact, I think we will put outside as well. Contact list name, which we can put inside our definition substitution here, so that it's handled not from within the template, but instead from within, not from within the state machine, but from within the template. Makes it slightly more reusable, I think. It's essentially like an environment variable. And we want to use list contact, that's okay-ish. We now have you here. You should be chunk something something. Chunk like this. Template literal. Where did it go? There it is. So then we have our transform function, like here. Transform to send email parameters function Aaron. Yeah, very good. Did that close the... Yeah, it did. We already have that apparently. Oh, ARN. So. And anything else? Oh, we have to change the parameters, of course. Did we do that? I think we can just do $. Right? Go back to the workflow studio once more. Oh no, where did I go? There's a sender button up here, fortunately. Send email in bulk, and inside of here, I just want to do $. Not working. Oh no. Do I have to actually copy everything? $. Not an option. Okay. So we have to take now at least for the first level, we have to copy everything over, I think, from our function. So let's go to our transform function. Bulk email args. It has fortunately only three parameters which we have to copy over. So we take $.bulk email entries. This needs to be a string, and we need to say $, so that it's actually evaluating this as an input parameter. We have you and we have you, I think. And here we say $.from email addresses without a comma. And default content being $.default content, like so. I think, oh, $.$, so that it actually evaluates them, right? Good. Will it work? What do you think? What do you think? No, we don't want to deploy you because it's wrong currently. You, my friend. Anything else that we need to replace here? We have the transform to send bug email. I think that's about it. Yeah, I think that should be about it. Close you, we can close you. We can close you, well. All right. SAM build, or SAM validate maybe first, so that we quickly see that everything's working. Looking good. SAM build. That looks okay as well. And now SAM deploy. And with that, I think can close a lot of stuff in here. Yeah. So what will it change? It will change the role and it will change the step function, which is exactly what we need to change. Do it, please. Go for it. So we should see that this role is actually now getting, I think, 2 more, maybe 1 or maybe 2 more roles or permissions policies. And we should see that the state function is actually also changing somewhat. Creation date. No, it failed. The following resource failed. SFN, blah blah blah. Invalid state machine definition. Invalid JSON description. Trailing token. Oh, I probably have a comma or something somewhere. Oh no. ASL. Oh, there's a red mark. Because my bad. I forgot to delete the old one. I think I did the same mistake like a couple of hours ago. Okay. Unfortunately, I just clicked that we do not see whether it actually finished the rollback. Let's go to CloudFormation, CFM. And then we should see update rollback complete. Yeah, very good. So it's automatically rolling back the failed deployment, which is something you will not get when you're using the CLI. Just the AWS CLI manually. So SAM build once more. And so there are indeed things that will not get catched until you actually deploy, unfortunately. So that's a bit of a bummer. Would be good if it noticed those earlier, but yeah. No do. So that looks good again. Yeah, go ahead. Should take a couple of minutes. Update in progress. Do I still have access to both of these emails? Yeah, very good, very good, very good. I still have access to these emails. Nice. And then the next step would be to create the email template. I'm not sure whether I will do today. Probably I just show you how we did it last time. And then we will do it next time. Maybe today in the evening, but I'm not sure yet. So update is completed. Let's look at the role first. We see there is another policy. We see list context twice. Oh, did I not change? Yeah, copy and pasting. Send bulk email. With an S? Without an S? I don't know. We can just create a new role, and then we see up here send bulk email is the one that we need to call. Okay, let's do that again. It should be very, very quick, I think. I also don't know whether I need to actually call SAM build beforehand, because we have not changed anything in terms of JavaScript. So it might suffice but to just call SAM deploy again. This should be very, very quick because it only needs to change the role, nothing else. Why does it change the SFN role? The step function itself. That's curious. I will accept it, but I'm still confused why it's actually changing the step function itself. Maybe because it's all part of the step function inside of here. That might be the case. I don't know yet. Well, just a bit more time to waste, in which we can drink more tea. Not a bad thing. Never a bad thing. Deployed. Let's go back here. We refresh. Now we should see Then SES, maybe I can click on edit so that you can actually read something. We have list email on the email newsletter contact list. And we also have send bulk email for this email. Do we need to have this contact list inside of there? Do we need that? There's a warning. Missing version. We recommend that you specify the version element. Fair enough. Fair enough. Do we have a version here? No. Great. Do we have a version there? No. Great. Do we need the contact list? Let's go once more to add permission. And we create a new policy. And we choose SES v2. Yep. And we choose write, and we choose write bulk, send bulk. We don't. Okay. So I also mistakenly copied that one. Great. When I specify any here, what does it look like? Like this. Okay, yeah, very good. This is what we have now. Identity and the template that we want to work with. Do that again, and this time I will just try with SAM deploy. I'm curious whether it actually will change anything. File with same data already exists. Skipping upload. Okay, so we have to call SAM build first. Okay. And it did save, right? Yeah, I did. Deploy. And music stopped working again. Now we listen to Piano Collections Final Fantasy IX. Great soundtrack. Any Final Fantasy fans here? So. Yes. Right. So we already found some issues with our permissions, which is good, right? Finding those issues quickly is always a good sign. Lamps, refresh. Let's look at it. This looks alright. I think this is what we need. So list contacts on the email newsletter and send bulk email on for any identity and on this using this email template. Very good. Very good. Very good. So, and now let's look at the state machine. We will leave and discard. There was an error. Great. Newsletter. So let's take a quick look at it. We should see, yeah, all of these $, which is what I only wrote inside of the ASL, so it has actually deployed. We have the function that we call to transform, and that should be about it. Let's run it. Not on workflow, sorry, cancel. Start an execution. Start the execution. Ahmedkov off with his head. I like executions. They're so bloody. Bams, and we failed. Ha. 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 What happened? Let's try out the new one, because it immediately shows us the error up here. We were not allowed to call user blah 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 on resource air and AWS SES US East. So we are not authorized. Why? We do provide /* right there. Interesting. Do we have the right role? Let's double check that we have the right role. So we go back and then we can directly from the state machine, we can click here on the role to see which role it is actually using, and that is indeed the role that we have specified. And this should match. This should match. Yeah, it does match. That's funny. I mean, you can always be more restrictive. That should be alright. So typically you would not provide one specific identity, but more like a domain that you want to send from, I think. Let's build and then deploy again. So I made this slightly more strict in a sense. I could have also loosened it up by using /* right there and right here as well. I'm fairly sure this works. And I'm absolutely unsure why this is not working, to be honest. Oh, because it's calling send bulk templated email. What? Why is it calling send bulk templated email and not send bulk email? Send bulk email. Oh. If we leave, then we say create a new role. What does it say up here? Send bulk email. SES access control docs and reference. Oops. Oh. Send bulk templated email. We have send email. Do we have send bulk email in here? We do not have send bulk email. Interesting. Interesting. So my guess is that send bulk email pulls it down to send bulk templated email in the end. But do we have to provide both? Like send bulk templated? Yeah. Like so. Like so, maybe? Is that how it is? Is that what you want me to do, program? Please tell me. Yeah, this is send bulk email, but not send bulk templated email. Interesting. So I think we can actually stop this because it's not going to work. And I will now... Wait. Take the star in the right place. There it should be. So, we now have... okay, that doesn't work. We have list contacts. We have send bulk email. Yes, send bulk email. Let's go once more to our friend. I am create a policy, CSV2, bulk email. Yes. And let's just take both. Then we go to next, or actually we go to JSON. It also says send bulk email. That's weird. Well, let's try it with this one. Sam build. Permissions. It's like the 1% that you need to do, but the 1% then that takes like 88% of time. 80% of time. Leave this dude and wait for it to actually deploy. So it didn't work. whoever voted for it will work. It didn't. And congratulations for all those people who voted on it will not work. In their hearts, of course. So state machines, email newsletter. We should have close you. Down here, if I open this role, you should see now it also contains send templated email. It is, I don't know why they made it like this color, like terrible opacity. It's close to unreadable. So, this contacts send bulk email and send bulk templated email. Alright. Do it again now. Do it again now. It doesn't really matter what we provide as input. So let's run it and see what happens. We have green! And let's check my email inbox. There it is! And above, received an email which says, hello! Welcome to the newsletter, hi and above. And it did indeed replace the email template in the welcome email that we have. You will receive a new email whenever there's a new blog post. Very good. Delete. And on the other hand, I have Giddy up here, who also received an email. Welcome to the newsletter. And just now, the same email. And they have their custom data. It worked! High five! Tea for everyone. Good job, team. Very nice. Now we just have to fiddle around with the template, change the permissions to match the correct template here. And that's it. Actually, we will probably also have to figure out how we deploy this template using SAM, which will be slightly more complicated, I think. But it's working. We did it. We did it. We did it. Hooray! Now it's your turn. We did it. Look at it, it's green. We can we look at the individual iterations? I suppose we can. So looking at the first one here, how do I actually see the second iteration? Probably using the other one. Iteration number 1. How do we change to iteration number 2? Because we do have 2 iterations, I think. Go to map state thingy. Definitions, event, overview. How do we see the map state for the other iteration? Iteration overview. Definition. Nope. Events. Length 2, map run rn. Can we not see the other one? It would be kind of annoying, but well. Here we go. Here on this left hand side. There we go. There's number 1 and number 0 apparently, and number 1. Very nice. Very good. Apparently we also have a new blog article by Nitish Tiwari. Reimagine log storage. Possible. Very good. Awesome. It works. Minus. Look at it. We have the complete email sending workflow done now. One thing that I probably want to do is change the 1 into a 50. Oops. 50. Save. And yeah. Very good. And it's completely managed using this one, except for the template and the contact email. Contact list. Sorry, contact list. Very nice. It's working. Isn't that awesome? Oh, this is so good. I love it. Very nice. Let's take a screenshot of this. Perfect. Let me iteration number 1. And then we can say print. And we print you. Copy. Then I can go to Twitter and post about it, and everything is cool. Very nice. Very good. So that's it for the TypeScript tea time for now. Maybe we will do another one today. It was also the 100th episode, by the way. Congrats, kind of. Celebrate. I totally forgot about it. Well, we will celebrate another time, I guess. That's it for the TypeScript tea time. If you've liked what you've seen, please follow. It helps immensely. We were working with AWS serverless. We were working with AWS SAM, the serverless application model, to provision our infrastructure. We did a bit of TypeScript, very simple TypeScript, in fact, to generate one AWS Lambda function, which is just code in the cloud that runs serverless function, cloud function, whatever you want to call it. And we've seen how to use policies with SAM and integrate it with SES, which is a simple email service from AWS, and all of that working together with step functions. Woo! That's something. I like it. It's flashing. So thank you so much for joining. Hope to see you next time in TypeScript tea time. Goodbye, everybody. See ya.